Way. You want me down on earth, but I am up in space. You're so damn hard to please. We gotta kill this switch. You're from the 70s, but I'm a 90s bitch. I love it. I love it. I got this feeling on the summer day when you were gone. I crashed my car into the bridge. I watched, I let it burn. I threw your shit into a bag and pushed it down the stairs. I crashed my car into the bridge. I don't care. I love it. I don't care. I love it. I love it. I don't care. I love it. I don't care. You're on a different road. I'm in the Milky Way. You want me down on.
I wonder if Gator and Flamingo will be live tweeting this one.
Kill this switch. You're from the 70s, but I'm the 90s, bitch. I don't care. I love it. I don't care. I love it. I love it. I don't care. I love it. I don't care. I love it. I love it. I don't care. I love it.
Evolution is a mystery, full of chains that no one sees. Clockmates are full of history. Yesterday's too long ago. Don't agree with what I know. Tomorrow got no place to be. I see the line in the sand. Time to find out who I am. Looking back to see where I stand. Evolution. Evolution. See my reflection change. Nothing ever stays the same. But you know
Definitely one of the best intro songs ever. Top 10, maybe top 5.
we all know what it means. Nothing's ever what it seems. Unforgiven, unforeseen. I see the line in the sand. Time to find out who I am.
It's not just good for an intro song, it's good for a song.
Looking back to see where I stand. Evolution. Evolution. Take it right home.
Oh yeah, I was about to play the Tequila Sunrise songs. I forgot. It's KILLSTREAM. BoJack then KILLSTREAM. Okay, that sounds fun. BoJack then KILLSTREAM theme. That's about the same amount. That's about the same amount of time.
$2 you going in on Styx, or is this a friendly debate?
Smeagol can't wait. You can't wait. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kill Stream, bright and early, one of the earlier Kill Streams, not the earliest in history, but one of the earliest in history. Welcome to the program, the legendary program, might I add, broadcasting to you live from Richmond, Virginia, the former capital of the Confederacy. This morning we have blood sports for you. Richard Spencer versus Styx, Hexenhammer on internet anonymity. I'm about to send out the links. Now, originally I thought I was going to start an hour earlier. I guess Styx, somehow we got the time zones mixed up, and he thought it was an hour later. So I said, don't worry about it. I'm already up. I don't think Richard will mind pushing an hour back. I know I wouldn't mind if I was a debate participant going an hour later, and Richard didn't. So we just easily pushed that on back to 11 o'clock. So we'll be starting that here pretty soon, not too long. Like I said, about to send out the links. Already getting started today on the 4th Hour Fund. Powerchat.live/the Ralph Retort, Killstream.live/tip, $ Sunset Squad over on Cash App if you'd like to support in that manner. Also, let me think, dollar super chats over on Odyssey. If you want to get in some questions now, early for this debate, this would be the perfect time. I'm pretty well versed on this issue as well. I guess a little preview here. Richard's going to be arguing to shut down 4chan and kind of get rid of internet anonymity. Styx will be taking the opposite view, I guess you could say, and I'll let him speak for himself. But that's going to be the basic parameters of the debate. You guys know, those who've seen a lot of these on my show, or even one, kind of mostly hands-off, kind of just referee status. I like to let the participants talk. I think that shows a lot more of somebody's like intelligence and grasp of the issues over some moderator trying to put his big foot down. I don't think that's...
Smeagol fan sent $3 show of support for this king everyone. Who else can scream like Kinnison?
I did a little bit of Kinnison yesterday. And I was going to come back for the show last night, but I knew we'd be started early. I'm going to keep going after this debate, so don't think we're stopping. This is kind of just the opening today. We'll probably stream, I don't know, the usual tequila sunrise slot. We'll see if we hit the 4th Hour Fund. But if we do, I plan on going not just 4, maybe 5 or 6. So we'll see. Started early today. I'm ready to go. I saw Gator and Fagmiko got suspended. Tragic. So sad. Pour one out for those guys. It really did hurt my feelings. Of course, King Faggot himself, Medicare, immediately blamed me, even though I had nothing to do with it. But I wish I did. I mean, I wish I could come out here and take credit. But no, unfortunately, that's not the case. But it is hilarious. Anytime I see somebody I don't like take a downturn, I enjoy it. I really do enjoy it. It makes me smile, and it's kind of one of the great pleasures in life to see your enemies fail, and sometimes even fail dramatically or even get hurt, anything like that. I mean, I like that type of thing. I don't think, why would I come out here? What am I going to lie to you? No, I'm just going to tell you how it is. That type of thing brings me personal pleasure. So I was glad when I woke up and saw they got suspended. I laughed.
Fagsagay sent $3. Did you see Andrew Torba's post this morning clapping back at that soy male feminist faggot the quarter pounder?
Did you see, man, quarter pounder? Of course, he put out that ridiculous video on me yesterday. I'm going to clip it out for the clip channel as well. We watched it on Tequila Sunrise. I was going to save it for Killstream. I'm glad I went ahead and did it because I ended up being tired. And also, I just didn't want to do it. Like, you know, sometimes it's like, all right, I already did like a 5 or 6 hour stream. And I got to stream at 10 a.m. Do I really want to come back in between? Like, you're spreading yourself a little thin in terms of creative juices, right? I have so much to say. I don't want to wear out my welcome too much. So I was like, okay, well, I'll be back in the morning. But I'm glad I went ahead and watched it yesterday because I ended up not doing the kill stream last night. Preposterous. He actually sourced Media Matters. Then he went on Twitter and tried to say, oh, I didn't show me where I promoted. We'll go back to the clip later after we get done with business here. Actually, you did promote it. He's like, whoa, I don't. It's one of those wink, wink. I don't support flagging while you're flagging or whatever, or like pulling up the report screen, showing people how to do it. It was one of those type deals. I would have had more respect if he would have just owned it, but of course that's Snake quarter pounder. That's not his nature, but I mean, I thought that was kind of funny. But then he goes, oh, it's one of those. It's kind of like what we were talking about. In all honesty, I don't, no disrespect. I'm not trying to drag Odyssey into this all again, but it is kind of one of those, like how their Twitter account was doing, where it's like, oh, what do you mean? We were talking about Cozy? Why are people saying that we're talking about Cozy? But it's interesting they're saying that, isn't it? It's like, okay, yeah, all right, okay. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, we know. Okay. I understand now. Thanks. Okay, I'll check Gab. Holy shit. That's hilarious that he went. I mean, I never would have expected that, really. Oh, wow. Oh, because he made it a point to go after Torba. He's mad that they won't let him post porn or something on Gab. Like, hold on, let me see. Why is this not? Hold on. I have to figure out why that's not. I guess it's better that I figure this out now. Okay, I see. I just had two. Okay. I had two different tabs up for some reason. Okay. Let me make sure you can see this. The crusade will continue until the society improves. Quartering doesn't seem to realize that I do not care about the size of Gab. I care about changing society and saving souls by sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ. Free speech is just the tool to get us there. If Gab were 4 times the size it is now and those people were all degenerate coomers, Gab would be a much worse place for it. This is the recording said, if Torba would just keep his faith out of it, Gab would be 4 times larger than it is. It's fine if that's what he believes, but his weird crusade is hurting his business. I mean, that's obviously what he believes. I mean, I know this is a foreign concept to somebody like Quartering, a guy actually having beliefs and, trying to stick by that and shit. Like, that doesn't really, a guy who censors fuck out of his videos so he can collect an extra shekel or two from YouTube probably doesn't, I won't even say the word porn, it calls it prawn, so he can make an extra dime, probably doesn't understand true conviction, if I had to guess, but maybe that's just Maybe that's just my take. I'm not sure. Oh. Let's see. Quarter Pounder doesn't realize that some people are driven by something else other than shekels. Yeah, I mean, plus he's well supported anyway. Torba does well, dude. Like, I mean, I don't think he's taking, he's not going to need any handouts anytime soon. 100%. So, he's been rewarded already with fucking major support. So you tell a guy like that, what you have to make it Coomer Central, or we're not going to support you. Well, I mean, fuck off. Like, honestly, I think he gets more support, more fervent support for being like he is. And with a site like Gab, these people are dumb, by the way. Quarter Pounder's an idiot. Gab's been around for years and years and years. You know why? Because they got a dedicated, fervent core base. They're not ever going to be Twitter. You can't compete with Twitter. Twitter has the market cornered on Twitter. Okay? I'm just going to... Is this a surprise? Twitter is the leader of Twitter-related materials. Is that...
Gamer sent $3. I must confess, I still play PUBG. It can be really satisfying.
Thank you, Gamer. You know what I mean? Like, you they invented Twitter. So it's, it's going to be hard to probably top their stuff. It's like, okay, I'm making Coke now. I'm going to go make the #1 Coke. No, you're not.
Gitgorp sent $3. Hello, friends. Friendly reminder to downvote the quartering's slanderous attempted headpiece on Ralph Amali.
Ralph Amali. So you really don't have, you're not going to be able to beat them. But what you can do is build a niche platform that can hang around forever and be super fucking important and viable on its own. And that's what he's done. And you look at all the other products like GabPay and some of this other stuff he's dabbling in. I love what Torba's doing. Yeah, I love coffee. Coffee's delicious. Coffee's like the greatest thing. Also, I better send out these links. All right, let's see. There we go. Let's see. All right, I'll let them know I'm already live so they can just kind of just pop in right before, I guess. All right. The links have been sent. Quartering has a poor relationship with his own mother because of COVID hysteria. Oh, no. I didn't hear about that. All right. So let's see. Let's check in on the depth trial maybe while we wait. I think they're live with something. Let's see. All right. Oh, I can hear myself. That's not good. Okay. I was hoping that was not the case. Another videotape deposition. Those are so thrilling. Those really are the most. You know what? I could pull up Quartering's tweets. Let me see if I can find that. This dude is pathetic, actually. Hold on, I have to find his Twitter. He went on this long, weird rant about the Johnny Depp case. And then he's just like, there's this weird incel. Hold on, fuck. God bless. There's this weird incel energy around the case, and we have to admit how weird Johnny Depp is and what a piece of shit he is. I'm like, no, we don't. What the fuck are you talking about? This bitch set him up, falsified evidence, and you're already running cover for a fucking not guilty, basically? Man, fuck out of here. What? Huh? Let me find this shit. Of course, he replied to me some too, and we'll get into that. But this is, to me, more important to show his cuckery. Okay, wait. Yeah, I think this is about right? I see a potential powder keg of over-optimism for Johnny Depp to win his lawsuit against Amber Heard. Defamation is insanely hard to prove / win. Okay, well, you weren't saying that when you were promoting Rekieta's dumbass shit for fucking a year and a half while they raked in hundreds of thousands of dollars, which, I mean, yeah, you're right about that. It is hard to win a defamation case. I agree, but you weren't saying that when you and Rekieta were shaking down the old money tree with a bogus defamation case with a fucking inexperienced lawyer in that area of the law, which is what you would want. You know, you'd want somebody specializing in that. Defamation is insanely hard to prove / win. Take a look at these online polls, and close to 100% of people think it's a slam dunk. Let me be honest with you, he has about a 30% chance. I actually think he's right about that. He does have about a 30% chance. That's probably what I'd put it at. About 30. I'd say they had a good enough case where I actually think he has a shot, but I'm still going to be surprised if he wins. And I said that yesterday, I think. One of these last shows. That being said, wait, we haven't got anywhere yet. If you're looking at this, take a step back and understand for 2 years, I've supported the man's case. I just think people are way too high on their own farts here. I think he deserves to win, sure, but this is up to a jury, not YouTubers and Twitch streams. I think he has won in the court of public opinion, and that may have just been his goal. People hate her. She is toxic. But in terms of a $50 million judgment, that is still a really long shot. There's also, this is the one. There is also a ton of weird incel energy around the case. Like actual weird people who just need to admit they hate women. The fact you can't even bring up Johnny Depp was pretty damn toxic without people losing their shit kind of backs that up. Dude should win, but he's no saint. By the way, it sounds like, first off, he used the word toxic not just once in this tweet here. He called her toxic as well. Who not only uses toxic, I mean, you know, maybe once in a blue moon. I can't say I've never used it, but uses it all the time. He talks like a fucking People magazine article or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, this guy is just such a blowhard, such a fucking simp faggot, and just annoying as fuck. And he always says the most retarded, fucking consumer-brained schlop. Just whatever you could press. What could coon brain? He's a fucking coon. That's what he is. He's not a coomer. He's a cooner. That's his problem. I swear, every fucking time. He's always talking about some shit. What should we talk about today? And it's like just the most retarded fucking gay ass. It's all he talks about. This is all he talks about. Then he makes one video about me or something like that every once in a while. But he never talks about politics or war, what's really happening. Not even as a joke video about it or anything. He's so scared of losing everything by talking about anything of substance. I mean, I don't know. It's sad. It is sad and pathetic. And I mean, I've seen others just flat out admit that they just won't talk about anything of substance on YouTube because they're afraid of losing it all. I mean, it's obvious, but I don't know. Milk toast, yeah, that's. I'm not even sure that does it justice, but yeah. Okay, now let me see here. Okay.
Kioskman sent $3. Ralph, yesterday Philip DeFranco had a real faggy take on the Johnny Depp trial. Good for a few yucks to kill time.
All right. 1 second.
Get Gorg sent $3 BTW. Who is Andrew Tate? You only never heard of him before seeing Red Ice's video. Never realized so many women were sleeping with some black guy to make it in the dissident right cack.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that later. We're going to watch that whole thing, and I haven't seen it yet, but we are going to watch it 100%. Now, let me, I'll turn on the audio where they can hear me so I'm able to pin the screens. So this is the side. Okay, there's Richard. Okay, now let me. I think I got it right. Let me change the layout here. We can't hear you guys yet, so okay. All right, now say something, Styx. I can pin you to the screen here. All right. Okay, I think I got it. Now let's switch over. Oh, wow, it worked. Wow, hooray for me. Okay, now let me see if I want to make sure I turn these off. Now, you can still send super chats, and we'll take a break for super chats maybe at a certain point, 30, 45 minutes in, something like that. If you have some questions during the debate, feel free. I would love to ask them. And we're going to continue doing a show after this too, but we'll go ahead and get it started here in a moment. I think both you guys can hear me and stuff, right? Okay. All right, now let me turn on the audio so they can hear you. Let's see, unmute. All right, now we should be able to hear you guys. Okay, now go ahead. First, both of you are here. Styx, of course. Richard, both of you guys been on here many times. Richard Spencer. I'm just going to go ahead and get right into it. I don't really see – there's no point in wasting too much time on something like this. Both two perennial kill streamers here. I'm going to go ahead and let Richard start, I think, because it's kind of his – you know, he was the one going out and saying, you know, let's shut down 4chan and stuff like that. So, you know, I might as well let him start off. Go ahead, Richard. Good to see you, by the way.
Yes, good to see you. Oh, I'm getting an echo.
Okay.
There, okay.
Okay.
Now
yeah.
it's no longer there. Okay. Yes, good to see you, and thanks, Styx, for jumping into the ring. You're a glutton for punishment. Glad you're here. I wanted to talk about a couple of different issues, and I think we could kind of take one at a time because they're related, but they are distinct. We might want to. I want to talk about free speech just in general, and in particular in the American context. This isn't. I know you're now off in Holland. I'll come up with some nickname for that, like the Flying Witchcraft or something like that, but I don't know.
That was lame. That was a lame.
Flying Vermonter. I don't know. Who knows? Okay, that was lame. You've won that round, Styx. So I want to talk about the free speech.
The Flying Dutch Boy or something like that. Something Monopoly level.
Dutch Boy. I want to talk about free speech in general, but then free speech within the American context in particular. This is an American show. You're off in Holland, but you are an American citizen still, I presume. And then we might want to touch on the Buffalo shooting and even the Great Replacement theory, which they're all kind of related things. But I'll first start off with anonymity. Because that's kind of an easier one, and we can kind of get into this bigger topic. So I presume that you are generally in favor of Elon Musk purchasing Twitter, and you think he'll probably bring a better agenda to the platform. Is that correct?
I don't know that it will necessarily be better. I do support the buyout, generally speaking.
By the way, Styx, I think you might be worse. I think you might be using the wrong microphone because you sound kind of far away. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to.
Yeah, just a second. Let me.
Yeah.
It is attempting to use my wrong microphone. Just
I could
apologize to everyone.
No, it's fine.
Testing.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, yeah. I would say, yes, I support the Elon Musk Twitter acquisition because you can't get any worse than Twitter already is. That being said, this is mainly about internet anonymity, and there's not really a whole lot of that on Twitter. Most people use their names or brands upon it, so it doesn't really figure into this debate, I think.
That's not true at all. This seems to be the sticking point for Elon Musk's purchase of Twitter, which is to discover how many bots there actually are. And also, even before his attempt to purchase Twitter, he was talking about the issue of anonymity as a crucial one. He wants to have a verified human who is actually saying these things. And I think he's probably responding to this, at least to some extent, due to the fact that he has, I don't know how many million of users at this point, 10 million or who knows, like something like that. I think he actually had the most liked tweet ever or something like this when he tweeted that he wants to buy Coke and put the cocaine back in, which is kind of
but he's referring
brought America together.
But he's referring to Twitter, which is the product he intends to acquire. He's not attempting to push off the concept of verification on other platforms. He, as far as I know, has not addressed that. So
well,
that
he
wouldn't
doesn't
be,
have
that wouldn't
power.
be internet.
He's not a government.
Well, yeah, but that wouldn't be internet wide. That's just if he acquires Twitter, he's bought it. He's made it private. I mean, if you don't like it, make your own Twitter. That's what we hear from leftoids like you all of the time. So,
well, fair enough, but he's bringing up a crucial concept that I don't think was fully understood or thought through in the earlier ages of the internet. And that is that, first off, there are two things. I know the concept of disinformation or misinformation laundering. Misinformation laundering is really quite atrocious. Oh, it has such a ring to it with that Jankowicz woman.
It's an out of tune ring.
Maybe. I know that is something that people like to poo-poo. However, at least on the right, it is a very real thing in the sense of troll farms and bots promoting a particular agenda, or more likely than not, just simply promoting chaotic, almost quasi brainwashing agendas in other countries. That is actually a serious thing.
So people you don't agree with. So people you don't agree with. And see, that gets at the crux of the problem that I wanted to bring up. I think that your disdain of 4chan, some people mentioned accelerationism. I don't agree with them at all. I think that you genuinely dislike 4chan on a visceral level because it enables people to meme about you, and most of those memes are negative. And the same thing is true of me and of Ralph and of literally every other content creator, but I think that you got into the kitchen and you couldn't take the fire, and you decided, okay, well, 4chan has to die because they're ridiculing me and they shouldn't be allowed to do this unless I know who it is so that I can strike back. And I don't see
that's
that.
a great ad hominem argument, Styx.
No. I don't see that as the way that the internet should work. I like it that people are capable of criticizing me. I have no clue who they are, and I can laugh along with them, especially on 4chan, where you can go to B and you can post basically whatever you want. You can mock people, you can ridicule people, and the whole point is that because you're anonymous, you tend to be more truthful about your feelings. I personally find that a positive thing.
I 100% disagree with what you just said, but to go back to it,
memed on it.
I don't care about the memes. I'll tweet out the memes. You're making an ad hominem argument, and when I contradict you, you say, "Oh, no, it isn't." And then what do I say? No, I don't. The memes can be funny, they can be stupid, they can be whatever. I don't care. That's not the issue. But okay, I can't contradict you, so we just need to simply move on that issue. But I'm just saying,
why would I want to move on a winning issue? I think I'll hammer it home for the next hour.
You want to endlessly talk about how I fear Spencer memes on 4chan.
Yes,
that's okay.
Yes, I think that's because you.
Okay,
and,
we're
and
not
this,
talking.
This gets this.
Sticks,
No,
this
we
is
are
so
going to talk
stupid.
about that. This gets to the debate that we had, I think, 3 or 4 years ago, when you proclaimed that you wanted to be like the sort of oligarch of oligarchs of a white brotherhood leading society. I remember that. I can't remember exactly. I think that was still on Warski's show.
That was the Sargon debate?
No, it was after the Sargon debate. But you proposed that you would be. You would want a leadership position in a potential alt-right or post-alt-right sort of world. And the problem is that people joked about it more than they took it seriously. And so you went on 4chan and you saw the memes that people were making and you got livid about it because you were taking things too seriously instead of just enjoying the memes. And then you decided now to lash out at them as part of a quasi-accelerationism sort of thing, which is why you voted for Biden and why you support neoliberalism, because you think that it will collapse Western civilization. And in the wake of that, somehow, I don't know by what methodology, somehow you will emerge as the sort of white God man and you'll, I guess, lead people to salvation or something along those lines.
That's quite a tale, Styx. Thank you for that.
It seems
fantasy
to be a nonfiction
novel.
one.
I can't answer this kind of thing because it's a weird ad hominem conspiracy theory.
Conspiracy. Now you're using the term conspiracy theory.
Styx,
You align now with the ADL.
Styx,
You
this is
align
just
now with
stupid.
the ADL with regards to 4chan and similar sites, and now you're using the term conspiracy theory.
Styx, I am
now
trying to make an argument, and you're derailing it, and you're not addressing it.
Okay, so I'm supposed to go into your lane. I mean, because you're a leftoid now, you think that I'm supposed to stay in your lane, and I'm supposed to play by your rules. Well, that ain't going to happen, Richard. That's not the way that it works in Clankdom.
Styx, as I said, yeah, you have to actually let me speak, first off. But secondly, as I said, you're offering a theory that I rejected, but I can't really argue against it because you'll simply respond, oh, but it's actually true. And the fact that you said no means it's true. So we just have to move on. I don't know what to say.
Well, so what do you say to that, Styx? I know what he said. Wait, wait.
So terrified by cheeseburger memes and like Spencer things. I mean, give me a break.
You can find those in a number of places. All right.
I'm admitting it. All right, we've just got to move on.
Now wait, hold on, wait. So wait. So what he's
well, I'm not going to talk to you if this is all that we're going to.
Gentlemen, hold on. Wait.
Go ahead and rage quit.
Oh my God. All right. Now he's saying that basically he's rejecting your assertion, Styx, and he's saying that there's no way to you're just going to say he's bullshitting, right? There's no way to get around that. And so, do you have an answer to that, or what do you say there? What do you say to that point that he's saying that we can't really move off of it?
I hold by my opinion of Richard Spencer at this time. Look, I like your content creation. I have no problem with you as a human being. I'm just saying my belief is that you looked at 4chan and similar sites. We're talking about like 2016, 2017. You were posing yourself as a sort of leader of a cultural movement that really, I mean, we can look back at the fucking videos and stuff. You thought that it went beyond simply memeing. And you got ridiculed. And you didn't realize sites like 4chan or Kiwi Farms or something, they do that to everyone. It's natural. And you take it too seriously. You're not willing to deal with the meme thing.
Let me actually pick up on something.
Memes like Pepe, but you're not willing to deal with memes about you. And that's the problem.
We've got to get past the personal stuff.
All right, now hold on.
I don't know
what were you going to say?
I will try to drag something of use out of what.
Okay, go ahead. Just go ahead. Just respond. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm sure. I am sure that at some point someone said, oh, and you want to be the leader of the Neo-Roman Empire. I'm sure that I said yes to that, just as a kind of, calling someone's bluff. And just as
it was in a debate with
Wait, hold on. Let him respond.
Move this forward so we're not just dwelling on this nonsense, okay? I'm sure that I said yes to that in some, expression of my own arrogance or whatever. You're undoubtedly correct. But I think one thing that interested me in what you just said is that Spencer took all of this stuff seriously. He didn't understand that it was just about the memes. I think that's actually a profound insight. I do take all this stuff seriously. I take ideas seriously. I also have to stand behind those ideas. There's a return address when I say something for good and for ill. So, my brilliant hot take gets spread around and it comes from me. Also, the horrible shit, the tape from Charlottesville gets blasted everywhere, and it has a return address because you have to take the good and the bad when you take responsibility for what you say. And that is what defines you. That is a serious problem with 4chan. Now, if 4chan were merely what it was at its origins when it was created by Moot, and it was literally a Japanese porn page for losers. Oh, actually, Moot said explicitly, I created the page in order to share porn so that other people would post more porn as well. It was a porn site for weirdos. Now, if that is all it is, then whatever. The real issue is that 4chan, and when I say 4chan, I'm referring to a whole broad, number of sites. Great number of sites, 8chan, 8kun, all this kind of anonymous message boards. No one is ultimately willing to take responsibility for what they say. It is all about the memes, but then they take things very seriously in the most horrible way possible. So what is 4chan's great contribution to world discourse? It's QAnon. It's posting child pornography. I think we should actually care what something is producing. And if what it is producing is something that is just simply overall damaging to society, then I think we should look at it in a very different light.
When you bring up illicit porn in 4chan, you sound like Bill O'Reilly more than 10 years ago, calling it the internet hate machine and calling it far left, by the way, at the time. I would say this in rebuttal to you. You absolutely, and I can't remember exactly who was hosting the debate, but you absolutely, when I questioned you about it, you proclaimed that you wanted to be the eventual potential leader.
I admitted that. I'm sure I did that. Of a potential,
white ethno-nationalist society. And so my proposition is simply this. You take that very seriously. You lost. The plot was lost. That's obviously not going to happen. You're not going to have your microstate or balkanization or whatever you want. And so now you're salty. Well, I mean, it's true.
Go on.
And now you're salty about that. And you're salty because you think that a bunch of nerds on 4chan memeing you are the ones that stopped you from doing this. And now you're lashing out at them. Your problem with anonymity, by the way, lines up exactly with the ADL, which I find absolutely hilarious. There was a Reason article literally yesterday that I covered today in one of my main videos that effectively said the same thing that you're now saying about not just 4chan, but about Kiwi Farms and BitChute as well. Oh my God, people will be able to have free speech. It's a terrible thing. It's going to cause terrorism and shit. Where was this terrorism in the early days of the internet in the 90s and the 2000s? Where was it? You've been led to believe that it's a big thing by the legacy media, by the corporate politicians, the powers that be, and that's basically the sum and substance of it. You've either gobbled up their shit or you're grifting off of it to get an audience.
Do you admit that there is terrorism that seems to be derived from this cesspool? You seem to actually imply that by what you just said.
What's
4chan? Can we stipulate that?
The Buffalo shooter that you and the rest of the glowing ones are obsessed with was live streaming on Twitch.
Look, seriously, if you call me a fed, I'm not debating you. I'm not debating you if you're going to call me a fed.
That's okay. He was using Discord to put out his views. He was streaming on Twitch. He obviously was using YouTube and Twitter and all these other sites. Why single out 4chan as the source of his madness? I look at it and I say the government already had him on the radar for a year prior. They should have known better, and it's their fault, just like with the Boston Marathon bombers. It's nothing to do with 4chan. 4chan, look, I go on 4chan every day, Rich. Listen, just for a sec, because you apparently don't use it. I use 4chan every day. What do? I post Andy 6 log threads on B. I don't give a shit about manifestos and all of that stuff. I've got my own political beliefs. If this moron was so nuts that he decided to go and kill a bunch of people because he thought that the race war was coming or something, he would have gone crazy regardless of its existence. The fact that he was able to anonymously post there is meaningless because you're saying that he was absorbing material from other people and that radicalized him.
He
that doesn't
clearly
involve
was.
him posting. How do
There's
you know?
no doubt. There's no doubt that
How do
he
you know?
was.
We know he used 4chan.
Now wait, let him respond. Hold on, wait.
4chan.
Let him respond. Go ahead, Richard. Go ahead.
There's no doubt that Gendron was mentally ill. The fact that he did this shooting, it's axiomatic that he is mentally ill. The question is, do words and certain cesspools like this, do they have a power to make someone worse and to make ideas worse, to destroy important concepts like the Great Replacement and turn it into a kind of numbers game where some small percentage of these people who go on to these toxic cesspools are actually going to go and kill people because it's a numbers game. And, Gendron got 10 and, he's up in the game right now. That's a very real thing. If you read his manifesto, it is, first off, it's copy pasta, as they say. It's copied and paste from other manifestos and from just memes he found on the internet, in all likelihood on something like 4chan. I use 4chan kind of writ large. But his manifesto was in many ways quite rational. It was not a totally insane screed from some Hollywood villain like out of Seven or something where it's scribbling. No, he did a lot of copy and paste, but it was very rationally set out. So words like this do actually have power to articulate someone's madness. Words do have power to inspire someone to do something. And this just notion, I feel like people who are obsessed with free speech in itself, that just we should have all free speech, they ultimately don't take speech very seriously. I think words do have power. I think words can cast a spell on people. I think words inspire action. You seem to think that it's all the only way you possibly will defend all of this stuff is basically to say that it's just memes, it's hilarious, it's porn, it's the making fun of Richard Spencer and makes him mad, blah blah blah. Well, you never take any of it serious. That's fine. You never take any of it seriously.
Yes, I actually do. I've written a book on occult memetics, my dude. Of course I take it seriously. Why can't you learn a lesson from that and look at what is happening right now on the internet? There are absolutely state actors that have large troll farms. They have an absolute agenda. You should not be talking about state actors
through anonymity.
You should not be talking about state actors, Richard.
Look, Styx, if you're going to call me a Fed, I'm not talking to you, buddy.
I didn't use that term, now did I?
Now, what do you mean? Now, wait, hold on. Wait, hold on, gentlemen. Wait.
Styx, I don't try to demean you as a person.
I can ask him. Hold on. Yo, chill.
What are you talking about state actors for?
Styx, hold on. Wait, let me ask you a question. I'm going to ask you a question. No, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to ask you a question as the moderator of the debate. And I'm going to ask you, what did you mean by what you said with the jibe about state actor?
We're getting a whole bunch of nonsense right now, which is literal disinfo about the prevalence of state actors all over the world. We're supposed to believe that the Russians effectively are running the entire internet. Why would you even
You're
bring
just
up
overstating matters. You're overstating matters. Do you think the Internet Research Agency doesn't exist? Do you think that doesn't exist? The Internet Research Agency in St. Petersburg. Do you think that doesn't exist?
Not on any meaningful level.
Well, we have a factual disagreement, but I would just say that that's ridiculous.
It's interesting that you thought I was calling you a Fed by pointing that out.
What?
It's interesting that you thought I was referring to being a Fed when I was talking about state actors. Dude, we are literally bombarded every single day with more Russia. Russian state actors are causing literally everything on the right wing.
You're overstating the matter. No one's saying that they're causing literally everything. No one is claiming that they are causing literally everything. But to deny the existence of state actors in China, Russia, and elsewhere, and in the United States, there's no doubt. I have little doubt that the United States does this as well. It is the way they play the game.
Yeah, there was a report in 2008 that actually like 10,000 accounts on Facebook were fakes and they were run by the U.S. Air Force. What I'm saying is that this does not have a meaningful impact on public discourse. And why would they aim it at 4chan anyway?
Why do they do it if it doesn't have a meaningful impact on discourse? That's absurd. Why are they doing? Why are they investing billions of dollars in this? They're just dumb, or they're having fun on the internet. They're just posting memes, man. No, it's a real way of engaging in foreign policy.
Yeah, they keep getting defeated by a bunch of 4chan trolls. That's the problem. As long as we have free speech, as long as we have free speech online and anonymity, it's very difficult for them to actually make inroads.
Okay, let me go to a different. Do you think the best ideas win out in some kind of marketplace of ideas on the anonymous web?
If it is not interfered with, generally speaking, yes.
So QAnon was the best.
QAnon didn't
that's
win
what
out.
won. That's what?
No, it didn't. How did QAnon win out? The only people
QAnon is the most powerful internet movement of both of our lifetimes. Give me a break.
Hey, dude, Pepe was more powerful than QAnon. I warned about it for years that it was a liberal psyop.
Pepe never invaded the Capitol. I mean, give me a break.
Neither did QAnon. There was no invasion. Now you're going to go down the insurrection path again.
It was a buffoonish insurrection, but it was, if you listen to the people involved in it, including Ashley Babbitt, who died, the storm is coming, and they can't resist what is happening.
The storm is coming. What a terrifying
you're engaging in tactical nihilism. Do you take any of this seriously? Do you think QAnon existed?
Yeah, I take free speech seriously. There was no QAnon.
You take free speech seriously. So basically, what that means, let me translate that for you. That means that you are a libertarian. You will live and die on everyone gets to say whatever they want all the time, anytime. And if there's some kind of problem with that, you simply diminish it and pretend that it doesn't exist. There is no doubt that people's minds can be manipulated through language. Our very consciousness is language itself.
Expert, Richard, you're preaching to the choir. What I'm saying is that the worst propaganda tends to be corporate and state. It's not some goofball on 4chan. I just think that you have a stick up your ass about 4chan on a personal basis, and you're hammering them over it, and you sound just like the ADL. They put out a hit piece literally yesterday that basically says what you're saying about it. So, come on.
So what? Maybe they're right on this one.
The ADL is right. We heard it from Richard
blind
Spencer.
Squirrel. They're right. I don't know what to say. You're making a fallacious argument. I mean, I don't know what to say. Barack Obama and I have the same taste in rock music or whatever, according to a Spotify playlist.
Really?
It doesn't mean anything.
I didn't know that.
It doesn't mean anything.
That's a little bit less meaningful than you agreeing with the assessment that we should burn the anonymous free internet and have nothing but corporate control over it. Or
no, I am saying that there are real consequences to this, and that these things function through anonymity. Elon Musk himself, the first thing everyone thought, the entire dissident right thought, that Elon Musk purchasing Twitter, he purchased it expressly so that they could say the N-word again. That's what they seemed to think. They were just going crazy. We're back. It's all going to be fun. No, Elon Musk, I hope he buys Twitter. I think it would actually be a good thing. I'm not fully on board.
What do you say about that, though? There was the good old days. We're back again. All of a sudden, they thought, yeah.
Richard,
let me finish.
Hold on, let him finish. I cut him. Go ahead. Yeah.
Again, I'm a bit skeptical of Elon Musk, but I generally think that it's a good thing that he bought Twitter. What is the major thing that this man, who's clearly brilliant, you don't become a billionaire unless you've got a lot going on upstairs. What is he really caring about? He's caring about the anonymity issue. Now, he seems, from what we can tell, he's kind of walking a tightrope, saying that you might be able to not use your own name, but you need to ultimately verify yourself so that Twitter can function as he wants it to function. And he has apparently idealistic motives, much like Jack Dorsey, say what you will about him, had some idealistic motives of saying this is kind of like a public consciousness or a public square, whatever. They believe that there needs to be something like this. And if something like this can function at all, you need to verify that there are real humans making these comments. And I mean, so the threat of real state, as you yourself admitted, the worst disinformation comes from a state actor. Okay, agreed. Like the threat, that the idea that can't be utilized. Like ISIS utilized the internet brilliantly in a horrible way. And they use that powerfully to ultimately inspire people to engage in violence. They use memes, they use irony, they use humor, all of the tricks of the trade of the contemporary internet.
Those things. But Richard, what I would say is
you're just dismissing all of it. I don't deny that they use slavery. Sure.
I'd like to make a point here. You're talking about Twitter and the idea of Elon Musk. You support the takeover as I do, trying to make sure that people are more verified. But Twitter is not 4chan. They serve an entirely different function. So you can't see how that's apples to oranges, number one. Number two, your acts in Charlottesville and thereafter have been panned and used by the legacy media in exactly the same manner that you're attempting to use, like the Buffalo shooting and things like that, to go after Anonymous, the evil 4chan, the evil Twitch, and all of these things. Can't you see how you're being a hypocrite by taking up exactly the same line as the people who attacked you?
No, I learned certain things from Charlottesville and the fact that it was ultimately a debacle. I do think that, as Donald Trump said, there were good people on both sides. I think there were a lot of good people at Charlottesville. I think obviously I have a right to assemble and protest given to me in the Constitution, and that's unequivocal. I would like to talk about what free speech actually means in the First Amendment a little bit later, but the freely assembling to air grievances is explicit, and I don't think could be understood in any other terms. That being said, yes, the major problem with Charlottesville, first off, the major problem was that there was a just total incompetency. I once thought it was malicious. After reading the Heafy report, Heafy report, I generally think it was just simply incompetence. But yes, that was handled in the worst possible way by authorities, local and state, and made everything worse. But there's also no doubt that, there were good people on the alt-right side in Charlottesville. There were a lot of bad people. And there were a lot of bad people who had been energized in a horrible way, not too dissimilarly from Peyton Grendon.
Yeah,
they were up to no good, and they wanted to cause harm. That is not obviously what I imagined. I thought this would be a lot of fun, and yeah, sure, Antifa would show up and whatever, but I expected
you thought it was going to be a lot of fun when people who have a penchant for throwing their own poop at the police show up. It doesn't sound like fun. It sounds like hell to me.
Well, fair enough, but
maybe,
I mean, that's your
maybe it's your misguidance more than 4chan's misguidance.
You can criticize my naivete all you want. That's fair enough. But we did do a number of events. There was a lot of excitement and so on. We did events afterwards. So that is what I expected. But the fact is, there actually were a lot of bad people there. I guess we're getting off on a bit of a digression here, but
a little bit.
It just is what it is. But the idea that like there aren't bad actors within an ecosystem like 4chan, I'm using 4chan writ large. It's just the notion of this anonymous internet based on politics, based on distorting ideas and through memes, basically making something that is worth talking about seriously, like the Great Replacement, making it more and more salacious and horrible and violent and disgusting. That actually is a huge problem. And I know we don't live in a sane society. I know we don't I'll finish right now. I know we don't live in a sane society, and if we did live in a sane society, that yes, that is a problem that needs to be solved. And that problem should be solved through the power of the state.
Why? I mean, how is the state any more sensible? I think that I would prefer any randomly chosen group of 4chan users to run the Senate than the senators that have actually been elected.
That is insane.
How? What finesse is required? What finesse is required in that
it
job?
Sounds like William F. Buckley, who said something like, I would trust random people picked out of the phone book.
Yeah, I really would.
Politicians.
I really would. The government. Look at the government right now. Your boy Biden that you voted for. He's doing such a great job economically. I think that we could get a couple of 4chan nerds that know how to use a TI-83 calculator, and they could probably manage the economy better. Look at crime. I think we could get a couple of random former cops that happen to use politically incorrect, and they would have a better policy with regards to policing. Look at the executive branch. It's run by a dude who clearly has dementia that you crazily voted for. I think that anybody could replace him. You do a better job. Ethan Ralph would do a better job. I do a better job. It's low-hanging fruit, though, because the cat could do a better job. So why do you have your ass in the air about 4chan?
What I'm saying is,
and you want state control?
I want better people in politics too. There's not like we live in a disturbed society, but to basically what?
I said Biden's disturbed. Yes.
Well, I think our society is going down the tubes in general. I thought maybe we could reach common ground on that point, but
it can. But I think it can be saved. You want it to be collapsed. You think it can?
You think it can be saved through like the marketplace of ideas or something? I fully reject that. I think the worst possible ideas come out of the anonymous. Well, who's the accelerationist now? What I'm saying is that in the event that we are lucky enough to live in a sane society, we are going to have to deal with problems like this. And the only way to deal with them is through state power. The state is ultimately has a shadow over the economy and all of these things. It is through the state that you can actually control these things and properly censor things that are absolutely toxic to the body politic.
You're basically the steward of Gondor talking about the ring of Sauron, the ring of power.
Yes, Tolkien was wrong. I'm not a libertarian.
You're going to use it. You're going to use the power of the ring of darkness in order to make things better. That'll work.
Yes,
it's not
Darth
like
Vader was right.
Stalin didn't try this before. Pol Pot didn't think of that before.
Every society, the notion of free, unadulterated, and in some degree inconsequential speech is a very tenuous, contemporary, and you could say briefly held concept. You're using Stalin and Pol. Hold on. I'll let you speak. Just hold on. You're using Stalin and Pol Pot as straw men of these like horrible people who murdered millions. Every society, every state and government has engaged in censorship, including the United States. This notion of
been benevolent.
We have had this kind of consequence-free notion of free speech for about 100 years, and it ultimately derives from Oliver Wendell Holmes. But that has led to absolute chaos in society. It is, the porn question is just so obvious. I think everyone agrees that, things like child pornography or abuse or whatever, that is absolutely illegal.
Yeah, it violates the NAP, so of course it's wrong.
Don't give me the NAP crap.
Of course I will.
Okay, well, I'm glad we agree on that. Okay, but no one can deny how toxic even vanilla porn is. At the very least, at the very least, in high consumption. That we have to have a notion of the health of the people when we make determinations like this. It isn't just criminality, and it isn't just the non-aggression principle. We have to recognize
that. Does this have anything to do with 4chan's existence?
I'm using an analog of other things.
Politically incorrect, which is the board that you really have mentioned specifically, is not a porn board. It explicitly bans porn. So why do you have a problem with the whole site? So why don't you just propose right now that 4chan gets rid of the porn boards and politically incorrect can stay and continue to meme you? So otherwise you're just strawmanning the situation.
If all they were doing was memeing me, I would not make an argument of this magnitude.
Okay, we've heard it. 4chan, please meme Richard Spencer. Stop uploading porn. I want you to block all porn with Andy6 log of shit memes.
Okay, I co-sign on that. Command. Yes, don't do anything but Spencer memes. I co-sign. Yes.
And Andy6. That's not pornographic either.
Okay, I'm using pornography as a bit of an analogy, but it's something else that I would want to ban, in the sense, or at the very least, strictly limit. In the sense that pornography is deeply unhealthy, and it is not an aphrodisiac. If you allow me to extend this for a little bit, contemporary pornography is not like pornography of yesteryear. It is not an aphrodisiac. It is a sex substitute. It is even better than the real thing.
So Victorian porn is your aphrodisiac. Have you seen some of the weird stuff that they did?
So not as much of it as you have.
If your great grandma got naked, that's okay to Richard Spencer. If your sister gets naked, that's a totally different story, because it's not in black and white anymore.
No, there is a fundamental difference between high definition on demand porn everywhere on the internet. That is fundamentally different than the way that erotica was consumed in past ages. No, we have to recognize this problem and not see it abstractly.
No, they had deep shows that were way weirder, dude. Have you seen some?
I'm not talking about weirdness. I'm sure there's weird shit, of course. But the just the physical act of walking to or riding a horse to a peep show and seeing that, it's in a limited quantity just by necessity. The ability for young men to exist online and have no connection with the real world, no connection with actual sex. Which is, of course,
sounds like you think the average
major problem
user. You're basically making the same stereotype about 4chan users and so forth that leftoids make. Oh, have sex, incel, you have no life. I use 4chan.
Yeah,
I have 4chan. I'm not looking at porn. I'm happily married. I have a life. I have a career. It's got a better redemption arc than yours. So what's the problem?
Styx.
If I want to shit post on 4chan and I want to do it anonymously because I'm wanting to have my jollies because I've got 10 minutes to spare or something, what is it to you?
The notion you're making an anecdotal argument. I mean, I'm glad you're. No, I'm not. I'm glad you're happy, Styx. But the notion that 99% of users are acting like you is incredible.
And they are not. 99% of them are acting like you is also incorrect. They have a life.
I'm not making that claim. I'm not making that claim. At some point,
they have
people
a life.
They need to consider the salus populi. They need to consider the health of the people and make a determination that isn't just based on like abstract notions of freedom.
Yeah, there's a weapons page on 4chan as well. There's no porn there. There's nothing degenerate according to your sensitivities. It's people talking about the guns they own and various tips and so forth. There's an origami page on 4chan. Do you have a problem with origami? Someone might make an origami vagina, so keep that in mind before you answer.
No, but for your depiction of 4chan as this, like your depiction, if I listen to you about 4chan, it sounds like Etsy or something. That's not what it is. and you know it.
I'd say that it was an eBay style site. I'm just saying that there are non-porn boards. That's the majority of them. I don't
Yes,
go to
if
the, I
that's
don't go to
all it
porn
was.
boards or
If
anything
that's
like
all
that.
it was, there wouldn't be a serious issue to discuss.
There is none.
The serious
You
issue.
brought it up, and the ADL has brought it up. That's basically it. The legacy media and Richard Spencer have a problem with 4chan and BitChute and literally every other site. BitChute doesn't have any porn on it, but it got panned by the ADL. Do you have a problem with them? You can have an account on there. You don't have to provide your actual information and say, hey, my name is John Smith. Do you have a problem with that? What about Odyssey, where we're streaming right now on YouTube? I'm STXYHEXENHAMMER. Tarl Warwick is not my account name. Do you have a problem with that?
I am saying that there are serious problems for broader society that derive specifically from all of the things that you just mentioned. You can always mention things that are like, oh, this is a good poster on 4chan. I'm sure we could find one, perhaps. Something on Odyssey. Oh, this is a great streamer on Odyssey. Sure, I get it. But
we're streaming on Odyssey right now,
to deny the reality of the toxicity of this culture is just bizarre. You seem to not take it seriously. You think there are no consequences to it. You think there are no consequences to people's health because of this nonsense.
No,
because you fixate on freedom.
Toxicity. You so far, every time that we've had an interpersonal chat or debate or something, you've used the term toxic. And this is the third time, I think, in this debate that you've used it. Who taught you that buzz term? I can't imagine that you thought it up yourself. Because most people think you're toxic. Just to be clear, if I look at CNN or something and they're talking about you, they'll use the same term for you. Should you be silenced and incapable of posting? Or should you be capable of going to a site and being anonymous, getting around all the bans, all this horse shit, where they say that you're some sort of next Joseph Goebbels, and you should be able to speak your mind too. And that's what I want for you, and that's the difference between us. I don't begrudge that to anyone, even if I deeply disagree with them. I disagree with you on many things other than 80s music, I suppose. I disagree with I was defending Hassan Piker when he got his temporary ban from YouTube. Dude's a friggin' commie. He's a total grifter, but I don't care. He has the right to speak in the free market of ideas, and it works. And we know that it worked because the internet's been public for a long time, and nobody, including yourself, had a problem until the last few years. Seemed to work fine for the first 20 years. What's the difference now?
Do you think that society is getting healthier?
All of a sudden, after 20 years, the Russians said, oh, hey, we overlooked this internet thing before, but it's actually pretty great. We can influence more people here.
Do you think society is getting better with all of this freedom?
I think that the freedom aspect is great. I wish we had more of it. Society getting worse has nothing to do with people expressing themselves. Over the last half decade, we've seen less and less expression. If society is getting more unhealthy, we could correlate it with more censorship now, couldn't we? We certainly have. You've been banned on a half a dozen sites. I've been algorithmically demoted.
Just because I am banned, I mean, I get it. I have huge detractors. I can be made into a boogeyman. I get it.
Exactly.
But that means that my willingness to say this has all the more authenticity. We have to think seriously about these issues, but how we would act if we were in control, and not just act in this kind of passive aggressive kind of defensive manner of, well, we just need to allow everything so that they don't ban me or something. We need to examine these serious problems of anonymity, these serious problems of these total cesspool. Like, again, I'm using 4chan very broadly. I'm not using it really specifically. The just cesspool of the anonymous internet, where it invariably goes over and over again towards violence, stupidity, the destruction of ideas, the agitation of damaged minds, and the fragmentations of minds that need not be damaged. We need to just simply recognize this reality. You're saying there's more censorship.
You sound
there are
like
more
an
people
evangelical talking about Harry Potter or something like that. You sound
Yeah,
like an
there's a
evangelical
natural-
talking about the Sorcerer's Stone. Do you even use these sites? How much time have you spent on 4chan or any of these
Very
other
little.
sites? You're correct. There we go. You're ignorant. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't even use the
know
site. You get your
plenty
news
about what's
from
on this
No,
stuff.
you don't. Fuck that. No, you don't. You get it from secondhand sources like the ADL or CNN or Vox or whoever the hell else you happen to read that day. That's what you know about 4chan.
I have
probably
visited
about these other sites too.
4chan, and it is unbelievably
When did you visit?
embarrassing.
5 years ago?
No, it's last time. I think I looked at it recently because I wanted to think about these things. But yeah, I visited it off and on. I'm not a user of 4chan, no.
Then you probably should not be pretending to be an expert on what's on 4chan. I am. I use it every day, and I find it wonderful. And yes, there are Spencer threads, and some of them are negative. Look, there are threads about me.
It's not about me, Styx.
There are threads about
I'm
me.
just
most
saying
days.
it's not
I get
about me,
called
okay?
I know how it feels, Richard. Don't worry. I empathize with you. I get called a tranny, and I get called a scammer, and all of these other things, and it's funny. I can go into the thread anonymously, and I can shitpost against people that are saying things about me that are defamatory. I think that's great. It's fun. Go and have some fun. Stop taking you say that I don't take things seriously enough, I think.
Yes.
I'm having a great time. You take them too seriously. And you shouldn't be because
there are
your worldview
actual
is not a
serious
serious
things
one
in this
anyway.
world, Styx, beyond just like demanding freedom.
Yeah, but-
Freedom
but
for
your
what?
worldview's not
Freedom for
serious.
what? Freedom to have a healthier, better, more productive, innovative society, or freedom to
Freedom to
become
do what you want.
degenerate idiots who live online for their entire lives?
Yeah,
That
they
is
are
the
degenerate.
question.
Yeah, you don't have the freedom to do what Richard Spencer
Degenerate in the
doesn't
real
like.
meaning of the word. Yes.
You don't have the right to do what Richard Spencer thinks is wrong. Well, what if I take up that
At
line? Then I think you're a
some
degenerate because you want to censor things. So I think that you should be censored preemptively and kicked off of Twitter and shouldn't be on this call and all these other
Styx,
things. How is that any different?
Throughout human history.
I don't care about what ancient people did.
I'm not talking about ancient people. I'm talking about Americans up to 100 years ago. I mean, it's even more
Okay,
recently
so our
than that.
great-great-grandparents.
They made decisions about what is best for the public. That is how
It's a real
adults.
serious business. There's an old meme, the internet is serious business, and boy, oh boy, do you exude it completely.
Yeah, I actually take this. I take this this whole question very seriously. I take words very seriously. I take taking responsibility for your words very seriously. Yes, I do. And this is a serious topic. I mean,
I'm
you
aware
think
that
it's
yes,
hilarious, but it's
exactly.
a very
You're
serious
trying to
topic.
usher in- yes, it's a serious topic. You want to usher in ADL style censorship, and I stand against it. And
You
I'm on the right side
associate
of history.
everything, any kind of censorship or control of something, you associate with either Joseph Stalin or the ADL. There are
Well, they're
other
fairly
ways
similar.
of exerting power besides the ADL and full-on communism.
Yeah,
I mean, you're straw manning over and over. Every society has made decisions about this, including our own.
Dude, I remember the other day, one of your fans was panning me actually on a Twitter response to your post about this very stream and saying that 4chan itself was a board. You don't know anything about the site. You've proclaimed now ignorance of basically how it runs and that you don't use it very often.
I never claimed ignorance of that. I don't use it because it's embarrassing.
There we go.
And gross.
You're making my point for me.
No, I think you only live in a libertarian world where there's freedom and oppression.
I thought you said that already.
I didn't accuse you of living on 4chan. I don't know anything.
Making a joke, but I actually use it. But you don't.
Okay.
So who knows more about it? That's like saying like, hey, here's my Glock, and you say, oh, here's my Glock, and I'm like, oh, I've fired 1,000 rounds through it, and you're like, oh, I've never fired it. Who are you going to listen to for expertise on the Glock? Well, that's the same thing as far as 4chan goes.
You can say that about a lot of different things, though, right? You can say that about negative things. You guys were talking about child porn earlier. If somebody said, well, I watch more child porn than anybody, you know, I mean, you can use that on a lot of different things, right?
Right. Yeah. So anyway, I mean, I don't know. I think we're kind of going in circles.
I got some questions. I want to step in there anyway because I got some questions. First off, for you, Richard, since I gave him that one, I was going to ask you a little bit of one here too, a little adversarial. The history of anonymity itself. I mean, there's plenty of examples of Federalist Papers, of course, famously, but all throughout history of anonymity being used for political speech. Like, how do you even justify what you're saying, basically, to censor the internet in this way?
I think anonymity, a pen name, is obviously used in all of these things. Now, people usually almost invariably get found out. I mean, we know exactly who wrote every one of the Federalist Papers and who might have contributed to two and so on. So it's a certain kind of pose that people have used. I understand that when you are writing something under real oppression, that you have to do that. If we were living under actual Stalinism or something like that, we might not. We certainly wouldn't be on this podcast. We would be, handing notes to one another and protecting our identities. No one is living under that level of protection. No one is a whistleblower on any of these sites where they fear repercussions. I mean, again, they don't want to take. They are embarrassed by themselves, and they don't want to take responsibility for what they write. It's like, what is Anne Rice? Anne Rice wrote porn novels, or, softcore porn novels. She was embarrassed by them. She used another name, a nom de plume, from what I've heard. None of these people face that kind of oppression. Moot founded 4chan. He wanted to post porn. He was terrified of his identity because he's
now. What about? Hold on. No, wait. No, wait.
I have very little sympathy.
No,
I mean, I get anonymity on.
What
one
about
level.
radical politics? Hold on. Wait.
For people who don't want to take responsibility for what they say.
I've got a point. Please let me point something out.
Go ahead. You can do it.
You are correct. At the moment, there is not the level of persecution on anonymous online forums that people technically would need that pen name. But you and other people like you are proposing introducing that kind of persecution. So naturally, people are going to say, of course, we need anonymity. Other people want us not to be able to say what we need to say. It would be just like if you went back to the Federalist Paper times and you look at the people persecuting them and then go back a few years before they're written and say, well, nobody's actually saying that
the Federalists weren't persecuted. Give me a break. I don't want to fixate on that one example.
Okay, the British never persecuted their subjects when they posted things that were, heretical, according to the British Crown.
The Federalist Papers were about supporting the Constitution.
I'm well aware of this fact. And now look at the history of some of the
British were not going to persecute them. I mean, I don't.
Now look at the history of some of the people that participated and their beliefs on free speech. What you're saying is that it's not important to protect the anonymous speech because nobody's really persecuting it, but then you're proposing that persecution. You are defeating your own argument by your own words.
No.
Realize it. Yes.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I recognize the notion of a whistleblower. I recognize that someone might want to use a pen name. What I'm saying is that we're living in a fundamentally different era than someone who would need to be anonymous out of fear of persecution. I don't want to go around hanging every dissident in sight. I mean, I'm not a madman.
Just the black ones, right?
What?
Just the black ones, right?
That's not even funny. It's not very rude. No. Then that's not true. No. What I'm saying, all I am saying is that every society in human history has engaged in some kind of action. A decision is made at some point for either the health of the people, the health of the state, or very often the health of the religion, in order to determine that some things are harmful. Some things are better not said. If you believe that there is such a thing as a good book, then you inherently believe that there's such a thing as a bad book. There are
Yeah,
words
the Great
that
Gatsby, I
damage
agree. It
people.
should be censored. Yeah, the Great Gatsby.
Great
should definitely be banned.
Gatsby. Okay.
But the
fair.
problem is, if you look at history, how many times has that actually worked, and in retrospect, not been effectively state terrorism or severest authoritarianism?
That's bizarre.
Or at least
It's
unhelpful?
been used every time by every society, including ours, and we wouldn't exist if it was a bad thing. It's something that does need to be used on occasion.
Well, Pol
and
Pot's
what I'm
Cambodia
saying is
doesn't
that
exist, exactly.
what I am arguing against is going into this libertarian sphere where we become fixated on free speech itself and not thinking about what we actually believe and what we actually want in a society. Now, in terms of the free speech issue,
Who is this we, by the way? You keep using that particular term. What about those who dissent? You want to put them in the gulag, or like Stalin did? Or
yeah.
There's going to be a 4chan gulag. It'll have fleshlights along the wall, and it'll have Pepe
Hentai
nightlights.
posters. Yeah.
Right. See, I'm a benign totalitarian. Yeah, we would
we
give
still have
them
their-
Right. We would still give them their
Videos.
comforts. Yeah.
Exactly. Case closed.
All right. Go ahead. Finish your point, then I'll ask
Okay.
some of these questions.
In
that
terms
Peggy
of-
does.
Well, you can. Let me go on it.
Sure, finish it.
You mentioned the Federalist Papers. Okay, what did the founding fathers really believe about free speech? Keep in mind that in the Adams administration, there was the Alien and Sedition Act. So many people look back on it now through our lens and say, oh, look, so early on in the Republic, they disobeyed and betrayed their deepest values. The fact is, the First Amendment is not what you think it is. If we go to a English writer like English jurist like Blackstone, we understand the concept of free speech was never a free-for-all, which is basically what we have after Oliver Wendell Holmes. The notion of free speech was that there are no prior restraints on speech. That means that you cannot lock someone up to prevent him from speaking. That is, we know that you're a dissident. We're going to throw you in a dungeon. We'll never let you
That's
speak
not the
again. We're
meaning
going to
of
get rid of the
First
printing press.
Amendment. No, that's not
Yes,
the
it
meaning of
is.
the First Amendment. No, it's not. You also can't
You're
lock
loo-
a person up for
You are
having
looking at it strictly through contemporary eyes and not seeing it how they saw it.
Why would
So
you even be
that
appealing
was
to
the
the US
meaning of
Constitution
free
when you
speech.
argue for balkanization of the United States?
I
and,
don't argue for balkanization of the United States. That's
You
the
have.
opposite of what I want. No, I haven't. I've never wanted the balkanization. I've always argued against secession and balkanization. I'm a supporter of the European Union, for God's sake.
That explains a lot.
Okay. Well, I mean, I apologize for getting a little mad about that. You don't necessarily need to know all of my views. It's fine if you don't. But no, I am not
You
a supporter.
don't know most of mine. Jesus.
Well, I don't know all of yours because I don't understand your magical.
You don't even
powers.
understand the 80s as much as I do. We'll be listening to Iron Curtain's Condos later or something.
Fair enough.
We'll
But
go down the dark wave rabbit hole.
okay, I'll learn from that. But I do know what your political views are because I know that you are a libertarian and I know how libertarians think and I know what your values are. And what I am saying is that we need to reject those values. In terms of your cultural commitments, yeah, I can learn more about them. But I know libertarians, I can smell them out. And those values need to be absolutely.
You're thinking
What
of
do they smell like?
No, if you want to smell something, you're thinking of leftoids like hippies and stuff.
Yeah.
It's the patchouli set.
Yeah, right. That's what I was waiting for. Some kind of joke like that.
Do you think John Adams believed in free speech and then promptly enacted the Alien and Sedition Act?
I think he was not genuinely pledged towards the concept of free speech because he was carrying a British holdover in his views. And by the way, the Alien and Sedition Act was immediately removed by Jefferson when he took office and never came back again and was effectively
It came back
deemed
again in
unconstitutional.
1914.
It was
It came back again
effectively
in 1914, the Sedition Act. There's no question. Like that was the 18th century conception of free speech was prior restraint. However,
Jefferson
once
seems
you
to
spoke,
disagree. Jefferson, way better president than Adams, and he got 2 terms.
once you spoke and regardless of prior restraints, once you
Who cares
spoke,
what John
there was
Adams
an
thinks? He was a shit
understanding.
president.
There was an understanding that there could be consequences to what you said. No one thought in the terms that we think in the 20th century of you can just say anything, however damaging and unhealthy, anything goes. That's a very new
how I know
concept.
that's wrong? I've studied 18th century and 19th century literature, and a lot of it's oratorical, and people said all sorts of whacked, zonked out stuff. Weird philosophy. They talked about UFOs and stuff like that. They would sit in their little theater or on the street corner and deliver oratories, some of which were recorded, transcribed, and turned into books later on. This is part of the history of occultism as well. And that was not well accepted early on. Mm-hmm. There were people they held public debates constantly, and sometimes they got very, very fiery. They would be basically cursing one another's mothers. This was a form of public entertainment before TV and radio existed. Who was there to stop them from doing that other than municipal governments in the territories?
When you engaged in direct attacks or undermining of the state or undermining of religion or undermining of the people's health, the state stepped in, including in 1914 with the Sedition Act. Now, Oliver Wendell Holmes originally upheld the Sedition Act, and he actually birthed in a United States versus Schenck, he birthed the aphorism that everyone knows now: you are not allowed to yell fire in a crowded movie theater when there is no fire.
Which is actually inaccurate legally, by the way.
Well, inaccurate legally, you're looking at everything from the standpoint of the 21st century. You have to understand where that was in the decision of U.S. versus Schenck. So that was absolutely legal at the time. Now, Wendell Holmes changed his mind because he spoke with various progressives, and he birthed these ideas of America's this great experiment, and so this is U.S. versus Abrams. When he dissented, so what the concept of inconsequential free speech came from a dissent to a decision by the Supreme Court. And he basically said, oh, well, America is just this big experiment. We don't know what's right. So we need to have a free marketplace of ideas. And of course, the best ideas will win out. And so on. He did that in defense of communist pamphleteers, by the way. So this is...
Oh, yeah, communism. I think that communists should be able to speak freely, too. And they did for 100 years, and they lost for a reason. And now basically nobody wants communism. See, the free market won out in the end.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of people who want communism, and
fewer than you believe.
The idea, I think, maybe a fundamental divide between the two of us is basically the idea that the best idea wins out in the end. I think that in the popular mind, particularly with the ability of manipulation through state entities and money and so on, the worst ideas will ultimately win out. Terrible, toxic, there's that word again, ideas will win out. And that is a terrible thing. And at some point, someone needs to make a decision on behalf of the people against those ideas.
And of course it's you, or someone who believes generally as you do. See, that's the problem with the authoritarians. They all think the same thing. The communists, Nazis, people of generic fascism, neoliberals, all of these groups. It's great to censor people. We should only have speech that I agree with. Anything that offends my sensitivity should not be allowed. Well, we've been through this before for thousands of years, and it's never benevolent. It rarely works. You look at the Soviet Union, people were taking Depeche Mode cassettes and circulating them on the black market. Your favorite band was banned in the Soviet Union, Richard. And people bravely stood up.
Well, okay, I get your point.
It was degeneracy. It was going to give young girls sexual ideas and teach people how to use heroin.
I take your point, but I think you might be wrong on the facts, because Depeche Mode performed in the Soviet Union multiple times.
Okay, that must have been the latter, because they were definitely some of their songs were definitely on the banned list.
I take your point, basically, but I'm just saying, yeah.
All right, now let me play some of these because we got some super chats. Let me ask these questions from Entropy first, which you can also do, and then we have some TTS. I want to make sure we get those in. Well supported today, much appreciated, and we're going to keep going after this debate too with other topics during the day. Now let's see. K Max McDonald, longtime supporter, supports a lot of these shows. By the way, I always see him around. Good guy. Kind of people like that. It's important. So you get a little extra scratch sometimes. Definitely support your favorite creator. Once, even if I don't like them, which there are several. He says, what speech gets regulated? Who does the regulating? The ADL, the SPLC, CNN, or MSNBC? Styx and Spencer isn't the problem. The regulators being more oppressive than bad speech makers themselves. And I'll go to Rich there, and then Styx, you can weigh in.
Yeah, look, that's fair enough. And I understand, I absolutely sympathize with the notion that we live in this deranged society and that people that we don't like are in charge. I get it. I mean, I've faced the boot heel of oppression by being banned from YouTube, banned from Twitter for a time, banned from payment processors for a long time. I mean, et cetera. I get it. But what I am saying is that we can't just always think in this defensive, passive aggressive fashion where we are the ones saying, well, we just have to let everything out there because, so that, Spencer gets a right to speak or something like that. I mean, I guess I appreciate the sentiment. We need to think about this like adults and think about it in terms of how would we act if we were in charge. So that's what I'm suggesting.
I would rebut that I would act exactly the same way that I act now. I'd be even more libertarian and more permissive. Have you ever heard the story of the Brazen Bull? Its own creator was the first one to go inside of it and be burned to death. Here's the problem with censorship in a nutshell.
All right, now, what are the two? This is more K-Max, by the way. What are the two guests' full opinion on the First Amendment and what it means? Interpretations can always vary. We kind of hit on this a little bit already. Does the First Amendment apply to the internet also, or just to the government? What about an Internet Bill of Rights? So you guys can pick it up. I'll let Styx take that, and then you can weigh in, Richard.
It applies to the internet, absolutely. I support an Internet Bill of Rights, including one constraining corporations that involve themselves in effective vertical monopolies on human communication. There should be absolutely no censorship on the internet, regardless of anything beyond current U.S. law, exploitation, trafficking, actual threats, legitimate threats of violence, spam, and so forth. We should lock that in. There should be a constitutional amendment for that. Yes, absolutely. And the meaning of the First Amendment goes beyond simply a constraint on state power, which is the explicit part. The implied philosophical backing of it is also that private entities shouldn't be silencing you either. You shouldn't have to silence yourself, and nobody else should be able to silence you unless you are effectively trying to use the heckler's veto to silence someone else with your speech, which is a weaponization thereof.
I actually agree with a lot of what you said, but you have to ultimately take responsibility. So if there is going to be something like an Internet Bill of Rights or something like this, that you ultimately are going to, you can't, again, every right that you get entails a responsibility. In the sense of if I have a right to assemble and so on, that means that I need to behave.
So you can't wave tiki torches around and,
No, you can wave tiki torches around. I think that's bizarre to think that that's the big problem. But no, when you go out, if I were to just go protest on the sidewalk, I would be using my face and my voice, presumably, and in a way, in that sense, there is a return address. There is some kind of responsibility has been taken by the actor. If I want to go speak in a town hall, I have to identify myself and obey some basic rules and speak. That is, I'm taking
retaliate against you. Yes.
It could be. I get that, but there has to be some kind of duty or responsibility that goes along with the Internet Bill of Rights, or otherwise it just the whole internet becomes 4chan. So
good.
Do you have
yes.
Well, yeah, no. Do you have a right to speak on Twitter? And even if you get banned, remember, one of the big problems with getting banned off YouTube or Twitter now is that it seems to be a lifetime ban. So you do one, you use the N-word once when you're 20, and for the rest of your life you can never post. That seems excessively harsh. I mean, even if you I don't know, rob a bank, I mean, you'll get out of prison at some point. There's some ability there is an ability to appeal. There's some ability to say you've served your time, et cetera. There needs to be that as well. But again, all of these rights that would be granted with an Internet Bill of Rights come with responsibilities. We can't just say
a constitutional amendment doesn't grant rights; it enumerates them. Just to be clear.
Oh, what, your God-given rights or whatever?
Yeah.
Well,
yes. Your God gave me the right to shitpost on 4chan. I gladly accept this.
I am really happy that you articulated in that way, because you have articulated the utter absurdity of that notion.
Well, see, that's the problem. You don't have a sense of humor anymore.
I do have
your political revolution failed, and now you're sad about it because 4chan keeps making
all right, Styx. No. Can we just kind of lay out? Thing is, I don't return all this. Oh, you're a failure. Oh, you're a failure. I mean, it's just.
It's called a joke.
Yeah. Well, I won't talk.
The Nolman says, Richard, you once told Gary Young, I don't know who that is, but with no disrespect, I just don't know him.
Gary Young, yeah.
Young, yeah, he's spelled differently, though. Yeah, okay, it's got an E on the end.
Yeah.
You once told Gary Young that if Africans never existed, I don't know if you said this or not, by the way, world history would be unaffected if Africans had never existed, that he could never be an Englishman, and that slavery was good for black people. Do you still believe this? Come back home, brother, is what he said. Again, I don't know if you went off on that or whatever, but they sent that super chat in.
Right. I mean, look, we all evolve a bit. I mean, I think we're in kind of a different place now, and the kind of bullying attitude of 2017 is not something that I feel like it kind of falls flat when you're just going for the throat with every comment. I think like one good thing about the alt-right being over and that moment being over is that there's time to reflect and take things seriously and kind of rethink things. And there isn't just that immediacy of like, we're winning, Trump's awesome, we're badass, whatever. There comes a time to like reflect on those things. So no, I mean, I haven't fundamentally changed on some major things, but I mean, I don't see the big contradiction between my saying that the government should limit speech and this notion that, oh, Spencer, he's a fascist or whatever. I mean, I've never really been a libertarian in my heart of hearts.
You've evolved in your views. You no longer think slavery was a good thing. You just have an expansive gollywog collection.
Now,
you've changed.
Wheel over here on Odyssey says the consensus making apparatus is broken, and censorship may become necessary to have a functional society. And that kind of goes to a question that I have here for Styx, and you can weigh in after too, Richard. And I see it a lot in my chat, and you were kind of talking about it a little bit, I guess, with some of your points, Richard, that basically unfettered free speech in the eyes of some has led to just a general decay in society, particularly U.S. society, and that on this track we're headed for just an unbelievable downfall. What do you say to people who believe that, Styx?
I would say that the decay is the result of the same sort of people that are trying to censor things more, the Obamaniacs, Bidenomics, and so forth. The people that are standing against free speech, or at least freer speech, often I seem to note are the ones that are partnered with the same groups that are causing economic decay, wokeness, social decay, and all of these other things. They all want more censorship. Then I see on the other side people who actually speak for a living, like myself, other content creators, and certain actual activists, getting pounded, getting called extremists or extremist enablers by those same powers that be that are causing the problem. It's sort of like Apple or Nike that use human slaves, child slaves over in China, rambling about woke issues, the need for trans rights or whatever, something like that. If you consider that a form of cultural decay, it's not coming from evil libertarians, as Richard, I suppose, would suggest. It's not coming from the remnant right or some other group. It's coming from corporatism, and it's enabling far leftoids who do not believe in free speech in any manner.
Corporatism. I mean, look, let's talk about the trans issue, and I guess we should maybe tread lightly on this one, Ralph, because we have to obey the censors. But
we're mostly good, but just don't go too crazy.
Extreme. It's early in the morning.
Don't start talking about dilation.
Yeah, don't go too crazy, but we're fine. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Corporations and the government will ultimately react to much deeper cultural and intellectual change. So, even going back within our lifetime, Styx, in 2008, Obama was staunchly against gay marriage. I'm pro-gay, of course, but, this is a special thing we got here with this marriage. And, we're not quite ready for, sorry, it was a bad impression, but you get the point. Politics and corporations are just kind of responding to these changes. Now, there is a legal apparatus that the civil rights movement effectively that kind of undergirds all of this. I agree with that, but there's a delayed factor in what government does. I don't think government created the transsexual identity. I think that's bizarre to say that. What is ultimately affecting these people are platforms like TikTok, which is, by the way, owned and operated by the Chinese government, and no doubt does not have our best interest at heart, and might very well like to spread chaos in this country. And it gets mimetically promoted to people whose minds are open to it and who kind of can't resist it.
Yeah,
so the government didn't create it. The neoliberals didn't create it. They're reacting to it. It was created mimetically.
Money from China would be my question.
What?
There's a link there. They all get money from China for a reason. They're worried about Elon Musk and Twitter, but they're not worried about TikTok, it seems. You'll notice.
I agree with that. I think that's a good point. I think TikTok, among the many things that I want to ban, that's one of them. But to deny that people's very bodies, but certainly their minds and their way of acting hasn't been mimetically influenced through being, inculcated in these kind of, I don't even know what the right word is, ideology, but it's really the mimetic ability to transform humans. So we have this notion that's kind of art imitates life. In the sense of, there were all these trans people. I think, 20% of Zoomers were trans, or 20% of millennials or Gen X or boomers were trans. They just were so oppressed or bullied that they couldn't express themselves. No, life imitates art. That is the way that mimesis functions. Life imitates art. So people are being transformed to the point of mutilating themselves through their exposure to these memes. So
thankfully,
there
TikTok's
is a huge problem, and there are many things that should be regulated.
Well,
TikTok's just blame transsexuality on like Kamala Harris or something is absurd. It was created mimetically, just like all belief systems are created mimetically. Life imitates art.
Yeah, it was created by the Chinese.
I didn't say that.
I was making a joke.
Okay. I'm too earnest and serious. I'm sorry.
I wouldn't put it past them, the whole COVID thing. Anyway, I won't go there.
Let me just reiterate that again. Yeah. The foreign actors who do not have our best interest at heart, the interest of the West or America, or however you want to put it, are very excited about spreading chaos in Western Europe and the United States. Do you think? I don't think China
does that every day. Russia's too poor to do that. Russia's
Well,
too busy, losing.
Russia's pretty brilliant when they're not brilliant in many things, but they're they have a wonderful culture.
No, China's
they're
the main
very good. They're always been very good at propaganda, and they still are. And like there are foreign actors who it's not even about like promoting Trump or any policy or agenda. It's just total demoralization of a society. The Soviets were brilliant at this. They didn't support the Red Army faction because, they were going to win over West German parliament. No, they supported that kind of terrorism as a kind of general demoralization strategy of West Germany and NATO. And this continues today. You don't have to support outright terrorism, although it might come to that. But you support just demoralization tactics of the public, get them questioning everything, transforming themselves, becoming Buddhistic hippies or becoming transsexual, becoming whatever.
Well,
governments utilize this kind of brainwashing, for lack of a better term, and it is actually a serious issue.
The problem is this: if these foreign countries are so good at demoralizing the West through propaganda, if you create a censorship apparatus in the West subjugate to the government, wouldn't they just propagandize people and get people into the government they could control? And then they'd have even more power because you just gave it to them. You gave them the power to suppress the speech of the Western population. Now it can be manipulated. You're basically one step away from Armageddon at that point. Total slavery.
This is just a slippery slope argument of like the second you start, regulating a pornography site, the next moment you become Joseph Stalin. I mean, it's just...
If you create that capability in government, wouldn't they have an incentive to attempt to use that formidable apparatus that you say that they have to try to subsume the government, to try to undermine it? We already have globalism in which half of Congress
I see
has
what you're
holdings
arguing.
in China.
Okay.
Yeah, they would just subsume. They would use Congress. They would subsume it. They'd make the deal really pretty for all those Congress people, take over the government, and then they'd use the censorship apparatus to subjugate the United States or anyone else that they wanted.
This is hypothetical. I'm not going to address
Of
that.
course it's hypothetical. So is the idea of 4chan causing terrorism.
Much. I mean,
It's never happened, so.
Right.
It's a hypothetical about anonymity on the internet.
All right, now let's see. I have some more questions here. Let's see.
Ralph, at some point, I got to cut it short because recent newborn.
Right. That's why I want to go ahead and try to run through some of these real quickly. Let's see if I can get over here. Let me switch here. Tabs. Hold on. Andrew Torby. Yes, I saw that. PUBG. Okay, I saw that. Let's see. Richard.
Andrew Torba, that's interesting.
Okay, here goes. Richard, I've followed you for many years, and I find you very intelligent, although I disagree with a few of your takes of late. I'm English, and I do agree with your take on the EU in the short term. He says, I'll continue in the next. Then he says, as intra-European immigration is better than immigration from the third world. European immigration is better. But do you think a pan-white empire is realistic in the long term? It doesn't seem realistic to me, and therefore supporting nationalism is the best way to protect whites.
Well, I mean, look at what's happening. There are all these amazing things that are happening. The EU seems as strong as ever, really. I mean, it's a remarkable institution that was created as a kind of conspiracy of coal magnates and bankers, and it seems to be forming into a genuine state. NATO, which I totally agree was adrift and lost its way completely, now seems to have kind of found its way due to the exigent of the Ukraine crisis. So, I mean, a lot of these, NATO isn't precisely a pan-European organization, but you can see where I'm going with this. But a lot of these supranational organizations are really finding their reason for being at this moment. And the nation state is looking to bigger institutions to protect itself because we're dealing with global problems. So, I mean, I do think in the long term that Europe will be united. I think maybe you could argue in the short term you should be a nationalist. So I just simply disagree with that.
All right, let's see. CIA says, Styx, do you know anything about who keeps starting trap threads on 4chan? The CIA sent that super chat in. E. Michael Jones Gorper says, Styx, where's your cat ears? I watch your content on mute just for your two beautiful cats. Also, Richard, you're an F-slayer. Love you, Ralph. Thank you, E. Michael Jones.
I have no clue who starts the trap threads on 4chan's B, but I know who starts the log threads.
Eagle Jizz says, I agree and disagree. Styx is right, but he assumes everyone has complete agency. We know there are tons of numbskulls and astroturfing works with bots or whatever, and it can cause problems. However, it is a price to pay for marketplace of ideas. What do you say about that? Anybody got any thoughts?
Oh yeah, there's definitely a lot of bots and NPCs. Yeah.
All right, let's see. Okay, I'm reading through these TTS ones, so it's a little bit faster. Fang Fang Honey Trap. Spence, you win this debate, or you no get paid this month. Okay. Orthodox Monk says this whole debate has been off the rails. Gay. Libertarians and pagans are retarded. Orthodox Christian monarchy is the way, but we'd have to have 312 and 325 AD moments for that to happen. With how much the satanic elites have control. Your thoughts? Any thoughts on that?
I think that might be slightly hyperbolic there.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, we got some unique takes. Let's see. Lo-Fi Dude says, hey, Styx, ask Rich about what he thinks code, I don't know, a bunch of numbers, getting all those TikTok kids to use mind-altering chemicals. Code 0010110. Is that some kind of mind code?
It appears.
What is this?
Sort of meme.
What? Okay. Yeah. Well, they start fake shit like that all the time.
Yeah,
on TikTok,
it seems to be an
legends.
astroturf to try to get kids to smoke weed or something.
Yeah, you see these urban
understanding
legends.
of it.
This is just the level of awfulness on these sites. I mean, I just, and again, it's not coming from the government. Who knows? I don't know about this story, but it's like, who knows who this person is? Is he a state actor? Is he just some evil individual that gets a great deal of reach? I mean, but it's to say that people can't be affected through a kind of mimetic transformation, I think is extremely naive. Like we're all sovereign individuals who can rationally calculate everything. No, some people on high need to protect the society.
You know what the irony is? You just took my word for it on my summation of what that actually referred to unironically, and then proceeded to make your own analysis of it without even fact checking. You realize that, correct?
I don't know this. Right? I don't know the story, but I know of plenty of stories like it. So it's an anecdote that is part of a broader trend.
All right, now let's.
I don't think you realize.
Do you think that this stuff doesn't happen on TikTok? Do you think that with?
I've never used TikTok in my life. I'm going entirely on secondhand accounts, and you just replicated what I said and then improved on my analysis, thus creating a chain of propaganda without even knowing where the original material came from.
Don't you think that TikTok is really essential to the promotion of transsexual ideology? That in some we would not be where we are now without these kinds of things.
Based on the handful of things people have sent me from TikTok, I'm just not interested in it because I have an attention span longer than a gnat. But I don't even know anything about this. I don't even know anything about this, and neither do you. And you took seriously what I just said, even though I'm full of shit and have no clue about any of that. I weighed in on it and actually in a live stream.
I assumed that you weren't lying, Styx.
Well, no, but to my knowledge,
you're just on 4chan posting IRL.
Yeah, to my knowledge, that has to do with substance abuse, but I got that from someone else that mentioned it to me. And you took it unironically. You could have written a Substack on the article, and it would have sounded authoritative, but you would simply be repeating what I said, and I'm simply repeating what someone. It's like a game of telephone, and you don't even realize it. That's the whole problem, Richard.
Yeah, it's almost like disinformation's real or something, Styx.
Yes,
but I mean, what you said is an anecdote that is extremely believable because it could. Yeah, there's a million. It conforms
to your conception of reality. That's the most dangerous kind of anecdote.
Where do you think this stuff is coming from, Styx? Why do you think transsexuality just emanated into the world in the past like 4 years?
It sounds like Jenkum to me. People fermenting their own poop and then sniffing it to get high or something like that. Kids are smoking banana peels to get high. It's 1971.
Well, yeah, I know, but it's kind
heard
of
it from
funny when they're
authoritative
smoking
source.
a banana peel. It's not very funny when they're mutilating
hilarious.
themselves.
No,
It's not
when
hilarious.
they're smoking a banana peel, though.
Well, I'm just saying that that's merely stupid.
It is
but
hilarious.
mutilating and deconstructing your body is not merely stupid. It's actually a bit horrifying.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't need TikTok to cause that to happen. Even
You kind of do, though. You kind of do.
Well, it predates TikTok. That's the problem.
Transvestitism predates TikTok and so on. What I'm saying is,
modern period.
we would not have. There's no doubt.
Look at Calamity Jane and what she did in the brothels.
I get it. I get it. There's no doubt that there's transsexuality, quote unquote, in the ancient world, and so on. There's the word androgynous comes from a god. I believe he's like was he like Bacchus and Venus's progeny? I can't remember. But anyway, the point is, there are these horrifying polls of Gen Z being like 20% LGBTQA or whatever the hell it is now, right? Where is that coming from? You're either a silly like liberal and you believe that this is the natural way of things. And we're just like 20% of the public is trans. They were just repressed or bullied in middle school or something. Or you understand the way things operate, which I think you do when you're looking at dusty history books on witchcraft, which is that Biden, there's a mimetic transformation that occurs. But my voting for Biden was not an endorsement of this stuff. And this stuff was happening. It was going gangbusters under Trump. So like it's just a kind of irrelevant issue when you're voting because it's bigger. I don't think Trump is to blame either. You could kind of make an argument that there was a reaction to Trump, but I won't make that argument. But no, there's an outside cause that is creating this level of deconstruction among young people. And it is facilitated. The medium of that
they're the internet machine.
The medium of that are these sites that are just cesspools.
All right, now let's see a couple more questions. Real quick, K-Max McDonald says, what do both guests think of the argument that suppressing speech leads to more violence? Our elites have been replacing us, yet, allegedly, according to K-Max, yet rather than try to address the grievances caused by that, they simply condemn and try to silence. This makes the issue worse.
I would agree with that. Effectively, when people are capable of expressing themselves freely, they achieve some degree of catharsis, and the hope is that their thoughts don't escalate to action.
I agree with that to a certain extent. I think you can definitely cause violence through brutal oppression. But, ask yourself this. Would Ashley Babbitt end up with a bullet in her neck if it weren't for QAnon? Was she just destined to do that? Or did she, in fact, become transformed by this toxic, mimetic, constellation of ideas of QAnon? I think it's clearly the latter. She was manipulated and it ultimately led to her personal destruction.
Well, then she should have subscribed to me and listened to me, and she would have known that QAnon was a liberal LARP designed to distract people from actually knocking on doors and going and doing activism.
QAnon inspired a hell of a lot more activism than you did, Styx. Give me a break.
No, it inspired shitposts.
Styx, that is absurd. QAnon drove people into action. They were willing to do all sorts of things.
Oh my God, they were willing to march to the Capitol and walk around inside for several minutes.
As opposed to what? That's like the biggest. I mean, I don't deny that January 6th was like the biggest political rally or form of activism of my lifetime.
Nowhere near.
Oh, give me a break, Styx. You just missed something you don't like.
Peaceful protest.
What did you inspire? What did your YouTube channel inspire? Knocking on doors for Trump?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. QAnon inspired like 200,000 people or however many people were there.
There weren't 200,000 people there. Not even close.
Okay.
You're not even in the same order of magnitude, dude. You don't know what you're talking about.
You inspired 200,000 people to go knock on doors for Trump.
When did I say that? There weren't 200,000 people at the Capitol, though, just to be clear.
You're fixating on, this is getting a bit annoying because you
Well, then don't be
fixate on
hyperbolic.
details and not the point.
Yes, I believe
I'm
in
just
accuracy.
throwing out numbers. There were a hell of a lot of people January 6th.
There were 10 million. Dude, I influenced 10 million people, and you're talking about January 6th? Yeah, if I say that, of course you're going to call me out because it's hyperbolic. What are you talking on about, man? January 6th was a fiery but mostly peaceful protest as opposed to the Kavanaugh riots that happened sometime before where D.C. was on fire to the point where the White House was locked down. That actually caused real world damage as opposed to the Capitol riot. Oh my God, there's water bottles on the floor. Somebody pooped on Nancy Pelosi's seat. It's a treason.
Fair enough. I'll just grant you that because I don't want to make that comparison. What I'm saying is that QAnon inspired activism. I don't know how you can deny that.
It inspired
got into people's heads.
That was the whole point.
It wasn't slacktivism. That is a legitimate critique up to 2020, the 2020 election.
Trump summoned people to the Capitol to hear him speak. And then there was supposed to be a march past the Capitol, which was billed to be peaceful. And then people would go home. And some people broke off and decided to invade the Capitol as part of a riot. A very small proportion of those people. Trump is not QAnon.
I agree with that, but those two things were acting in parallel, and the QAnon doesn't exist without Trump. I mean, it's interwound with him.
It was a liberal LARP.
A liberal.
It was liberals.
You're missing the point and just getting into this discussion is somewhat interesting, but
trusting the plan instead of actually doing something meaningful to do political activism.
What is more meaningful than invading the fucking Capitol? I mean, I can't believe I'm weirdly defending them.
Magically began.
But I'm just saying, like, they had. I mean, I'll say it. Like, they were totally fucking nuts, but pretty ballsy. They were engaging in activism, for God's sake.
Started to exist on the.
They were saying directly, being interviewed. Ashley Babbitt's final live stream was "The storm is coming." She was quoting cues.
Sloganeering. Politicians say that shit all the time. They never get prosecuted or killed for it. Elizabeth Warren's going to fight like hell.
This is absurd.
No, yeah, it is absurd. Elizabeth.
It is absurd to deny. You sound like it is absurd to deny the impact of Q.
Don't let them have a moment's rest. How is that any different from saying the storm is coming? It's a vacuous term. It's not a threat.
Styx,
if they say the storm is coming, it means a thunderstorm is coming across the horizon. Get inside.
You are being tactically nihilistic.
No, I'm being realistic. QAnon inspired slacktivism long before January 6th.
That was I'm just repeating myself. But I'm sorry.
If you used 4chan, you would know that it predates January 6th, just to be clear. I know CNN won't talk about this. Yeah.
Of course QAnon predates January 6th. I know.
There you go. Never mind. I think you're not following the conversation.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. All right. Now this has been quite the debate, I have to say.
I really do have to get offline, though, very quickly.
All right, that's cool. I guess I'll just ask this one last. And one more issue: the right suffers more consequences for being exposed. If Antifa is exposed, do they ever suffer job loss, prison sentences, people coming to their house, etc.? Never seems to happen. The system needs to apply the same consequences fairly. What do you say to that, Richard? And then I'll let you guys give your farewells and stuff.
Yeah, look, I of course agree. I mean, the whole society is in a leftist drift, and I mean, I'm sure someone has gotten fired for being Antifa or whatever, but more or less, if they see that you told a right-wing joke online, you can get fired. And if you are discovered as Antifa, and in most cases, they'll pat you on the back or ignore it or something. I agree with that. I mean, I would never deny that the entire society is in this left-wing drift. But, again, I understand the impulse towards a defensive free speech absolutist position. But what I'm saying is that we need to think seriously about this matter. And act and think about it at the very least, because none of us are in power right now, but think about how we would engage if we were in power, if we did have an ability to actually put forward legislation, that we wouldn't just kind of passively aggressively talk about freedom and whatever, but we would actually do things that would help people. I think the right never thinks about this. And the right is, whenever the right is in power, it doesn't know what to do. It's like the dog that caught the mail truck or whatever the Joker said in The Dark Knight. If it caught it, it wouldn't know what the hell to do with it. That's what the right is like in power. When the right's out of power, they become like anarchist libertarians and are, whining about liberals or whatever all day. They're just not, they're not serious. And, we ultimately need to be serious about how we would engage if we had the ability to put forward an agenda.
You have any thoughts on that, Styx? You just want to go right to exit?
We'll just go right to the end, preferably.
Okay, go ahead. I'll let you, since Richard started off, I'll let him start here, and then I'll let Styx get the last word. Go ahead, Richard.
I'm good. I've said what I want to say. So I'll
tell people where to find you and stuff.
What?
Tell people where to find you.
Oh, yeah. Subscribe to my Substack.
Very good.
So just go to my Twitter. It's Richard B. Spencer on Twitter. You probably know that because you're the ones trolling me and post, your audience posting hamburger memes or whatever. So you know all this already. But yeah, if you are, more interested in these subjects, you can find my Substack there on my Twitter page.
Go ahead, Styx. Appreciate both you guys coming tonight.
Yeah, it was very fun. And Richard, thank you for the entertainment value. It was this was definitely a little more fiery, I think, than our last couple of debates, partially because of the subject material. I'm very defensive of my own favorite politically incorrect on 4chan. I would make one last minute rebuttal that I don't think that absolute free speech is a defensive posture. It's actually an offensive posture, as in offending people. That's the whole point. That's what I seek to defend.
Okay.
Very good. Tell people where to find you too, Styx.
Yeah, STXYHEXENHAMMER666. Just look it up, and Google might actually give you some relevant search results. I'm all over the place. I even have a link tree.
Very good. Both you gentlemen, again, I appreciated it. I really enjoyed it. I think people could tell by my facial reactions here during the debate. It was a lot of fun. Two old pros here on the kill stream, and I hope I served the audience well. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it. Hope to have you back soon.
Thank you, and
thanks.
peace out.
Talk to you soon.
Peace out. Have a good one. Later. All right, now let's switch over. We'll switch brandings here. Where do we go? Oh, there we go. And then, oh, we missed this. No!
Dick Spencer should keep preaching about optics. His viral history moment of giving the Hitler salute definitely gained him credibility and recruited more normies. Great person for life advice. Styx is incapable of higher thinking. It's all about what he can do on a personal level. He somehow managed to almost lose a shoe in debate. Spencer, we need anonymity for dissident right activities. Yuri Bezmenez, Soviet defector, said that the weakness the authoritarian system was the lack of feedback. Censorship perpetuated stupid and caused the downfall. It did not protect their country at all.
Hold on.
Loco Co.
Richard's takes are so hot you could leave a full-grown Black Angus in a room with his latest 5 opinions and return an hour later to beef jerky. Also, Styx is a faggot. Hail Spencer.
Thank you. By the way, somebody, I'm not going to read those out. In that type of debate, I'm only going to read questions out. So if you think I'm going to read it, I appreciate the dono, but I saw somebody complaining about this in chat, which, I only have time to read so many during the debate. And if your dollars are so precious that you gave some and you didn't get your question answered and you want to cry about it like a pussy in chat for hours and hours, then I don't have any respect for that. So I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm, like I said yesterday, I'm pulling no punches anymore, and I'm just Gonna be brutally honest. I do whatever I can to read the super chat, and if you're so fucking broke that you want to sit here and cry about it for 30 minutes because it didn't get read, then maybe you shouldn't give super chat. That's probably my advice for you. You should probably hang on to your dollars because they seem to be very important to you. So, is that a good enough response for you there? Is that a good enough response, Martin? Did you hear that one, Martin? Or do I need to repeat it for you? Let me tag you here. Make sure you heard it. Got anything else you want to weigh in there? I don't want to stop you. It's all about you. Not me, the host and the guest here on the debate panel and all the stuff they were saying, which is the real focus. It's about you. It's about you, Martin. It's about Martin. It's all about you, isn't it? What do you have to say? What should we do next on the show, Martin? Why don't I ask you? You're the fucking expert. Why don't you tell me where we're going to go from here the rest of the day? I want you to tell me what we're going to do, Martin. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for you to weigh in. Do you need a song? Do we need something to motivate you? I just want you to get your take in. We love Martin. We love Martin. Don't be too mean to him. Don't be too mean to him. That does kill me, though. It's like, okay, well, obviously I sit here and do what I can. No, I'm not going to read the most incendiary ones when I'm just barely keeping this debate going. We almost lost it off the rails in the first 5 or 10 minutes. Sorry, I'm not going to play your super chat calling him a faggot or whatever.
Sup_bruh sent $3 NPR is currently beating Reddit in the debate. Also, Spence, you're a smart guy and red pilled me a lot back in the day, but please stop being a faggot. Also, any Burger Rex?
That was the one I meant to ask him about burger recommendations, actually. That one I feel bad about. I know. I shouldn't be so mean. Loco Coco says it is a bit sad when your super chats get missed. I know. I shouldn't be so mean to Martin. Not Martin Skrelly, just Martin in the chat. We need to forgive Martin. You know what, Martin? Send me an email and I'll send you a t-shirt. How about that? Send me an email, theralph@theralphretort.com. If you're still listening, I'll send you a free t-shirt. Only Martin, though. Not everybody's who got missed. I'm not giving away that many fucking t-shirts. If you send me your email, theralph@theralphretort.com, I'll send you a free t-shirt. You have to prove you're Martin somehow now, though. I didn't even think about that. Fuck. The real Martin whatever. No, not Martin Skrelly. What was his name? Fuck. I don't even remember now. I tagged him in chat. Somebody in chat remembers. What is this guy? Yeah, Martin Riggs. That's right. I hope that's not his real name. Fuck, I hope you're not using your real name on Telegram. Anyway, I'll give you a free shirt, Martin. Only Martin, though, like I said. Because there were a couple that were missed. Then, you know what was fucked up? I forgot about donation alerts. Well, I remembered at the beginning because I turned it off because sometimes that one comes in and I forget that it's on. So I like that was played like right after they left because that one I did miss. So I do apologize for the ones on donation alerts. Killstream.live/tip. Not my intention. We did hit the goal, though. Poor Martin is traumatized. He hasn't spoken since. Exactly. We're getting him a cozy channel. I already see big things in Martin's future. Huge. This guy, he's getting his free t-shirt. I think Martin should donate his shirt to Grammy Grub or somebody said. Oh, Martin already killed himself. God, no. We will always honor Martin's memory. The Martin Riggs Excellence in Chat Award. We're going to give the award every year to the best member of chat. And it's going to be called the Martin. The Martin. That's what we're going to call it. The Martin. No, no! Fuck. And he didn't tell me what I was going to do for the rest of the show either. So now I'm like double fucked. I was actually counting on that. I was counting on that recommendation, and he left. Now I just have to name an award after him and do what I can. So always honor his memory. That's all you can do. That's all you can do. What's going on with the bullshit depth trial? Oh, it's on break. Good. Great. Great. Depth trial's leaving me just like Martin did. What in the fuck? What in the fuck? This is brutal. So we're doing the we did a unlisted restream on YouTube. I don't know if you know that, but we're about to end that because we kind of want to treat that with kid gloves, but we are going to continue the party elsewhere on Cozy and Odyssey, and it'll also let me go ahead and put this up separately because I'm going to stream for a while longer, many more hours, I would say, and so several at least, and so that'll let me put up the debate separate, and so people can already watch it. Maybe I'll put it up while I'm on air even, so it doesn't have to stop. But you can't watch it. You can't watch it on SusanTube much longer. So if you want to watch it there, thanks again to Styx and Richard for coming on. I liked it. I really enjoyed it, actually. I think like would be an understatement. I got a kick out of several moments in that debate. What?
E. Michael Jones Grower sent $3. Bruh, did you see they found a doorway on Mars? Also, space is fake.
I did not see that now. It also I liked that it got a little testy at times. It was a fiery debate. So if you came in late, definitely go back and you're listening to the end of my shit here. Come back, check killstream.live/show and check cozy.tv/Ethan Ralph later for the replay because I think you will enjoy it. Anyway, watch us on cozy.tv/Ethan Ralph, also odyssey.com/@the-Ralph-Retort, which was the other link I mentioned. It redirects to that. So thank you guys. I'm about to end that restream, so check us out over there. Where is that button? Here it is.